Years ago, a journey to Seattle brought mourners together for the passing of a woman named Elena, the mother of a cherished university companion, here called Mara. Living near Tacoma, where medical studies once unfolded, Elena and her husband often opened their home, sharing meals beneath a canopy of vines, a sanctuary she'd sculpted with care, each leaf a testament to her devotion. Elena lingered in memory as a boundless spirit, her vitality defying time's measure. Yet, after a gap of nearly 2 decades since a distant celebration of union, news of her unraveling surfaced. Mara recounted the descent. In her late 60s, Elena stumbled while tending her vines, wrenching her knee. What began as a sharp ache spiraled into a storm of joint stiffness, barring her from her twin joys, nurturing her greenery and chasing horizons on her bike. Days shrank to stillness, shadowed by a creeping gloom. In her final seasons, a fog of memory loss settled, and at 79, a lung ailment claimed her. At the gathering to honor her, voices murmured relief that Elena's clouded twilight was brief, a mercy, they said. Yet beneath the words hung an unspoken weight. Her last dozen years had been a muted echo, drained of delight, tethered to discomfort. The assembly mourned her final breath, but the deeper sorrow was the theft of her vibrant dusk. Elena's tale echoes often in conversations about enduring wellness, not for its rarity but its aching familiarity. Countless kin, elders, partners, friends, traverse similar fading arcs. What stings most is the quiet acceptance of this dimming as inevitable, a script few challenge with action. Even Mara, who tended Elena through those brittle years, likely saw her own horizon as a distant mirage, unlinked to her mother's path. For most, tomorrow blurs into a soft, unexamined haze. This story unveils a cornerstone of thriving through time, the call to envision and shape the later chapters, those stretching into the 7th, 8th, 9th decades or beyond. For two, many like Elena, the closing act falters, shadowed by relentless afflictions, termed here the silent reapers, and their draining remedies. Mind and muscle wane, locking away pursuits once cherished, be it sketching landscapes, dancing with abandon or racing winds. This stretch, dubbed the fading years, often unfurls as a season of shrinking horizons. Consider instead a bolder script. What might those later years hold? How might the rest of life unfold? Answers vary. Some dream of wandering distant shores, others of scaling trails or cradling new generations in play. This reflection serves dual ends. First, it pierces the veil most shun, pulling the endgame into sharp relief. Scholars name this dodge temporal blink, the pull to savor now over sowing for later, especially when the harvest demands sweat. Second, it underscores the essence of thriving span, the vitality of body and spirit. To sidestep Elena's fate, Mara must tend her own flame, stoking strength and clarity across each decade. Left untended, time's undertow drags all downward, as it did Elena. Picture life's arc as a woven thread, its length the span of years, its height the weave of vigor, mental sharpness and physical might entwined. In an ancient tapestry, birth begins the strand at full brilliance. Robustness holds through 4 decades, then frays gently, unraveling by the 6th or 7th, vitality extinguished. This was the weave of primal kin, enduring only if plague or peril spared them. Contrast this with today's pattern, a thread stretched longer by ease and shelter, yet midlife brings a subtle unraveling. Strength ebbs, names slip from grasp, Peers fall to the reaper's stealth. Tumors, hearts falter, sugars creep. Funerals punctuate the years. The fray steepens near 70, vitality halved, a threshold where ease fades and mishaps loom larger. A tumble at 40 mends. At 75, with vigor threadbare, it shatters. Here the common weave, call it Healing 2.0, intervenes, stitching back months or years against the reapers. The thread stretches rightward, death deferred, yet it flattens low, vitality already, sparse. This prolongation, deftly wrought, extends breath without bloom, a hallmark of the fading years most inherit. Now envision a rarer weave. Vitality holds steady, even climbs, past midlife's crest. At 60 or 70, the thread glows brighter than at 50. Limbs lithe, mind keen into the 8th or 9th decade. Age on parchment belies the mirror's tale by a decade or two. This weave swells with richness, years brim with kin, quests, or craft. When the thread dips, the fall is swift, a sharp close. This is the full bloom weave, life lengthened and lush, defying the expected fade, trading fading years for a thriving span. How does this bloom take root? How does the thread stretch long and strong, thwarting the reapers while lifting vitality's weave? What's the map? Too often, the quest veers to quick fixes, grabbing at morsels to shun, motions to master, potions to swallow. Shelves groan with such guides, but this path diverges. Before rushing to the tools, a pause is urged, a step back to forge the keystone. The framework. An old warrior's wisdom rings. Tools without vision are the clamor before collapse. Though forged for battle, it fits here. Triumph demands a scaffold, a lens honed by knowledge, shaped to aims, offering pathways. Tools spring from this frame, rooted in the goal. The aim is clear, but the framework is the fulcrum. A common misstep blurs scaffold and tools as one. They're distinct. Picture a legendary clash, a cunning rider against a brute titan, vying for a crown in a sweltering arena, 1978. The rider's aim was victory, but the titan loomed, youthful, fierce, unyielding. Odds tilted grimly against. The rider, a beloved trickster, outmatched by raw might. Victory hinged on a scaffold. The rider saw slivers of edge, swiftness, seasoned guile, a cooler head, while the titan burned hot, easily riled. Rather than match blow for blow, the rider schemed to sap the titan's fire, letting fury exhaust him. This was the scaffold. Provoke, endure, then strike. From it sprang the tools, darting jabs to stoke rage, a dance along the edges absorbing the storm, feigning retreat. The titan swung wild, tiring, while the rider's grit held firm. By the clash's heart, the titan faltered, and the rider claimed the crown. Tools gleam in the fray. The scaffold is the silent forge, study of the foe, weighing strengths and flaws, plotting leverage long before the bell. This weave of aim, scaffold, and tools threads the path to a full-bloom life. The framework. In that arena, the rider wielded time, outlasting the titan's blaze, dodging ruin, tilting odds with patience. For humanity, time pulls ceaselessly. The reaper's whisper grows louder with each dawn. Simple riddles, like shielding skin from scorch, need no scaffold, slather balm, or seek shade. But a thriving span is a deeper maze, demanding more. Lengthening. Life means holding the reapers at bay. Plague of vessels, rogue cells, minds fade, sugars snare. Age binds them, a swelling tide with each year, rooting in unseen shifts, cells falter, resilience frays. Entropy hums daily. Scholars frame this fade as vitality's slow bleed, priming the reaper's strike. A sudden collapse belies decades of quiet rot. A pestilence spares youth but fells the worn, exposing cracks time carved. The scaffold must wrestle this fade, as the rider wrestled years to outfox youth. Tools alone, hasty stitches, miss the mark, spinning cycles of fleeting cures. Healing. 2.0 chases sparks. Healing 3.0 builds the loom, mastering the weave before threading the needle. Soon, the reaper's roots and vitality's strands unravel. How do they stir? What feeds them? How might they stall? Elders who defy the count, thriving past a century, hint at the craft, postponing the reaper's claim by spans untold. Vitality's span transcends mere absence of woe. To call freedom from chains thriving sets the bar in dust. Sharper truth cuts deeper. Life's end is a stark line, breath or none. Yet, before that edge, a slow dimming often creeps. A twilight fade, as Elena knew. Swift or glacial, it steals unnoticed. This fade splits threefold. First, the mind's lantern dims, thoughts lag, riddles stump, recall blurs, will softens, essence shifts. Few sink to full shroud, but many feel the flicker. The aim, dim it less. Second, the frame weakens, muscle thins, bones brittle, breath shortens, steps waver. Aches bar old joys, a slip at 65 shatters where 40 flexed. Patience rarely. See this shadow nearing, painting spry futures, racing slopes at 80. Pause is urged, vigor now teeters. Without a forge, it frays sure as dusk falls. Third, the heart's tide ebbs, age agnostic, striking youth or twilight, born of buried roots or fresh thorns. Its sway ripples through flesh, spirit, and survival. A full bloom, life defies all three, entwined. Long years with a hollow shell, sharp mind in a frail cage, or vigor sans soul, all falter. Death's curtain drops, but the fade's crawl can bend. Some cross the 9th decade unbowed, proof it's not fate's lock. With apt tools, these tides slow, even turn. Vitality's lift pulls life's thread longer, stronger sinew, freer breath slash the reaper's odds more than any vial. Tools hone the weave first, the span follows. Tools, healing 2.0 strikes it breaks, mending cuts, quelling fevers with swift blades or drafts. Healing 3.0 threads tools into life's warp, motion, sustenance, rest, heart's ease, and rare elixirs. Potions wait aside. The loom's breadth suffices here. When called, they're allies, crafted aids, not shunned for their forge. Motion leads, a elixir beyond vials, staving fade and fall better than any cure. Its forms, stride, climb, lift, each hone a facet, might, balance, wind, peak. The aim isn't sheen but marrow, endurance free of creak. Sustenance follows, not a creed of this or that, but a balance honed by the body's hum, volume first, then kind. Rest, once scorned, now reigns, night's balm, men's mind and frame, its, lack a thief of all, heart's ease, less charted, binds them. Its storms, old or new, sway the whole. No rigid law locks these tools. They shift with the weave's call, tuned by whispered returns. Body's cues, science's light. From proof to insight truth. Grounds the scaffold, yet perfect proof eludes. Healing 2.0 leans on trials, swift tests of cause. For a thriving span, decades dwarf such frames. No cradle-to-grave sorting of lives will crown a king's weave. Instead, wisdom gleans from scattered wells, elders' tales, creatures' spans, reapers' tracks, cells' secrets, and nature's dice. Singly frail, together they steady the loom, not iron-proof, but a compass of chance. Elders who breach, a century shine first. Outliers weaving past the reapers often hail. What threads their luck? Beasts, mice, worms, hounds, yield next, their brief arcs testing shifts aplenty. Reapers' lore, disease's birth and bloom lays bare foes to foil. Cells' whispers hint at levers to pull. Nature's shuffle, Mendelian chance, sifts true ties from fog, as cholesterol's dance with fate clarifies. Certainty bows to odds. Biology's tangle defies math's lock. The weave bets on likelihood, a trader's game, tools tipped to outpace the fade, cut to each soul's dare. This is vitality's edge, unorthodox yet rooted, trimming the reaper's claim for a thriving span.